Welcome to Zero Issue Comics. My name is Josh. This will be the first episode of a 6-part series to get ready for the next exciting Spider-Man story, Dead No More, The Clone Conspiracy. I will be recapping the events of the original Clone Saga using the 6-part Clone Saga retelling as written by Tom Defalco in 2013. The issue opens up with Spider-Man, swinging through the streets of Queens, New York, thinking about all the craziness that has ensued over the last while. First, his best friend Harry Osborn died, throwing Peter into a downward spiral, almost having a nervous breakdown. And then there's Aunt May, who is in the hospital after having some sort of fainting spell while on the phone, and the doctors say her health is getting worse every day. Later, inside the hospital, Peter and MJ are informed by the nurse that they unfortunately have no idea what is happening to Aunt May. She tests negative for anything that would normally affect a person of her age. No heart attack, no stroke, nothing. But the blood work does seem to indicate it's an issue on a genetic level. Behind Peter, MJ looks queasy, and suddenly starts to run for the ladies' room, making it just in time. Meanwhile, after telling his boss that his aunt was in the hospital and leaving his job at a diner, Ben Reilly has arrived in New York. Back inside, Peter finds MJ coming out of the ladies' room and asks her if she's okay. Not wanting to worry him, MJ tells Peter that everything is fine. She just needs some rest and a hot shower, and advises Peter that he looks like he could use the same. Peter agrees and heads out to clear his mind, while MJ secretly goes to seek out a doctor to find out exactly what is wrong. Back in Aunt May's room, Ben Reilly has snuck in to visit her. But as a nurse comes in and sees Spider-Man making his way towards the hospital, Ben grabs his bag and runs, knowing that he has to find somewhere to lay low, because if he does run into Peter, things are not going to go well. And just as Ben makes it to the roof, Peter lands right in front of him. Confronting Ben, they start to fight. As he dodges Peter's punches, Ben starts to tell him who he is. He tells Peter that he is his clone, that he didn't die when they first fought, back when the Jackal first cloned him, and he threw Ben into a smokestack. He tells Peter that when he was thrown in, he must have been in some sort of mild coma, and as he landed at the bottom, he woke up and smashed his way out. He then decided to leave the city, not wanting to hide in the shadows, watching the real Peter Parker live the life he felt was his. He took to wandering the country and called himself Ben Reilly, after Uncle Ben and Aunt May's maiden name. Confused and angry, Parker asks him why he has returned after all this time. Ben tells him that he has secretly been keeping in touch with May, posing as a distant relative, and that it was him she was talking to on the phone when she collapsed, and he wanted to see her one last time before something happened to her. Meanwhile, back in the doctor's office, MJ tells the doctor that over the past while, she's been experiencing severe nausea, usually occurring in the morning. And after a few minutes of conversation, the doctor has an idea of what's causing her symptoms, and tells her he thinks congratulations may be in order, and that he thinks MJ may be pregnant. Just then, back on the roof, Ben and Peter's spidey senses start going crazy, and a split second later a car comes smashing onto the roof. But with the momentum of the crash, it starts to head for the edge. Peter rushes over and webs the car, but with both of them knowing it won't hold for long, Ben throws on his mask and leaps down to the streets. Within seconds, the car starts to catch fire and quickly burns through Peter's webbing. With the car now falling towards the street, Ben tells everyone to move, and just before the car smashes into the ground, Ben leaps through the air to save one last woman and her baby. Back on the rooftops, a man stands across the street in the shadows. Watching all this unfold, the man says to himself that he didn't expect Ben and Peter to rekindle their trust in each other so quickly, and that plans will need to be made. With Ben and Peter back on the roof, their spider senses start to go crazy again, and suddenly the two of them are bombarded with a strange green goo coming from above. The substance starts to stick to them and wrap them up, making them unable to move. Ben, being close to a burning tire, realizes that this goo doesn't like fire and rips off most of the green substance. But Peter isn't so lucky. He is completely covered, and it is starting to cover his face. Just then, Ben has an idea. Ben grabs Peter and swings off the roof, heading towards a smokestack in the distance. Climbing to the top in Ben's arms, Peter starts to think this is it. This was all a ploy of Ben's to get rid of Peter and take over his life. But Ben, knowing what Peter is thinking, reassures him and tells him not to worry. They are making this trip together. And Ben jumps into the smokestack, still holding Peter in his arms. Moments later, the two Spider-Men climb back up to the top, and thanking Ben for saving him, the two shake hands. Off in the distance, the man from the shadows is telling someone on the other end of a radio that the plan has worked, that the two of them have survived both attacks, and have bonded just as predicted. And from inside an office somewhere, a man sits, watching their every move on camera. Hey guys, if you want to see more Daily Marvel videos recapping all the new comics, go ahead and click that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up. You can find me on Twitter at ZeroIssueComics, on Facebook at facebook.com/ZeroIssueComics, and you can now find me in tons of other comic book news and stuff at eatyourcomics.com. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you next time.